missile initially launches a laser missile, which upon explosion create a rotating...
Hey there! Update 10.3 is just around the corner. This hot summer season, it's not only the snipers who get a Titan, but brawlers are in for a Titanic surprise as well.
There are popular new features like Intel, Quality of Life editions for looking through your own collection, and a new way of sorting your pilots. Let's take it one step at a time.
I know you're super busy commanding rabbits in battle and tinkering with your hunger. But what if I told you there is a feature that boosts the hunger and takes no extra time at all? Intel rewards you what you do best. Eliminate enemy rabbit. The more intel you have on a specific rabbit, the more damage you deal to it. The more intel you have on a weapon, the less damage you take from it. At the end of each battle, you will receive a certain amount of intel on Tier 4 rabbits and equipment destroyed by you and your team during the match. The more intel you have on a specific item, the easier it becomes for you to fight it in the future. You can think of it as a permanent veteran's bonus. Players spend more time in the game or play more effectively will find it gradually easier to combat orange tier gear. We've explained all the details in an article on our website.
And now, if you plan on diving into 10.3, here is some more intel for you. This is the Mauler title. When it raises its hand, it's best to step aside and keep your distance. It's no friendly greeting. That raised hand means that the Titan has activated its Starflight reactor, and now bestows death marks and slow down every target in proximity. Mauler can make easy prey of you in its death zone. The Titan can dash multiple times, compensating for its slow movement speed, and then some. Also, when Mauler dashes, it activates the defense mechanism that converts incoming damage into damage over time. This gives the Titan plenty of time to finish its main combat task, which is straight and to the point, a brutal roll. Mauler's staple weapons are Anguisher for the Alpha slot and Ruiner for the Beta slot. Both are kinetic shotguns that use a rather nice type of ammunition. Each pellet that hits the target splashes acid on its armor, applying damage over time. They won't call it Anguisher, right? By the way, corrosive shotguns won't be very effective against Mauler itself, as the Titan is partially resistant to TOT effects.
Completing the Mauler build is pilot Nina Kessler. Her unparalleled experience with the Darklight reactor allows the Titan to also apply Rust, and her tactical prowess helps light up some dust stacks straight after every dash.
Lasers make superior weapons. If that's what you think, watch out for Beholder. The latest vigorous attack mothership emits a continuous scorching laser beam that follows its target, dealing direct damage and applying block. And remember, when you stare into the abyss long enough, the abyss will stare back at you. What's bigger and louder than a blast? The new ultimate set. This time it will bring total suppression. Ultimate Breaker. This shiny gold breaker gets the counter suppression passive, so it combines perfectly with Ultimate Dragoons and Hussars that have the same range.
By the way, shout out to Nova Line, the Beclear pilot. Little is know about this holographic avatar of a 3D hacker, but we know for sure she will make your Beclear last longer on the battlefield.
Waiting for flight.
So, what are some of the latest and greatest additions in this update? First of all, there are the collections. It's a new screen where you can proudly admire your collection of rabbits, titans, and weapons. It's a place to keep track on your hotel progress too. What else? An easy way to find the pilot you need. All it takes to study pilot and see who specializes in the chosen rabbit weapon is a tab or two.
And that's it for today. Learn more about your enemies and clear the skies, Commander. See you on the battlefield.
tiền của các bạn chắc chắn là nhiều đến không thể tiêu hết. Sao lại phải viên bánh hóa giả mà phải làm tiền?
Mày là mày thiếu. Ewan ko eh, maybe